Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports. This is the number one place for all your fantasy content. We do the research, so you don't have to. But wait, so you don't play fantasy? We have you covered with all your F1, IPL, and UCL content. So head on over to the Fantasy Pavilion YouTube page, like, subscribe, stay connected with us. We have all the content you're looking for. Fix that team though and do better. The last year it was really shaky. But this year we're doing better. We're doing better this year.
Yes, guys, welcome back to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sport. Of course, it's F1 weekend. We had a bit of a break since Jeddah, and of course, it's the Australian GP, Albert Park. Free practice is currently happening right now. Normally, we have the show on a Wednesday, but it was a bit difficult for us to schedule. So far, Hamilton is doing well with the best lap so far. Then Leclerc, Piastri, Perez. Stroll, Russell, Gasly, Sonoda, Norris, and Zhao. So during the show, we'll touch on that, talk about who's doing well so far. Obviously, this can help us possibly picking a fantasy team, the best fantasy team, of course, for the weekend. And it's Australia, so two home drivers, Piastri and, of course, our boy Ricardo. All right, so we're hoping that that could help them be both some kind of advantage. Of course, Ferrari has the most wins here as well. Maybe they might be a solid shout. And of course, Sainz is back to bolster the Ferrari team. Of course, Ferrari was well represented in Jeddah last time. Sainz replacement did amazing. But Sainz is back. Ferrari normally do well on this track, or the best, I should say. So let's see if they can do something different. But of course, we'll take a quick look back at Jeddah. Let's just take a quick look back at Jeddah. Of course, just no surprise, obviously. Max Verstappen is clearly going to be running away with this, possibly winning another title. But of course, it's the early days. But yes, so of course, Max winning Jeddah last time out. Of course, Sergio Perez in second, Charles Leclerc third, Oscar Piastri fourth, Fernando Alonso fifth, George Russell sixth. Of course, Oliver Behrman, the replacement who took over for Sainz, great job. Did an amazing job coming in seventh. Lando Norris 8th, Lewis Hamilton 9th, and then Nico Hulkenberg rounding up the points. So pick up Nico Hulkenberg, pick up Haas. So of course, it's good to see teams like Haas and teams like Aston Martin in and about the points in the top 10. It helps us if when we try to go for those cheaper assets, cheap in inverted commas, because the prices are very inflated right now in F1 fantasy, but it's better or easier. I guess it helps us to be able to get one of those other top drivers, consistent drivers. If you can't get Max, as we keep saying, you can go for at least the Red Bull constructor. All right, so that's last week's. Okay, just now good. All right, Ish. Welcome, Ismail. Welcome.
Thanks. Sorry about being a little late, but
No problem, bro.
I was watching the first minute or two. I was speaking already, so I'm up to date where you reach. So you can continue. And
Yeah, no problem. In between, of course, taking a look at pre-practice, Sonoda right now. Uh, well, all right, Perez right now with the best lap. So just keeping an eye on that for now while we discuss. Of anything for you as we move before we move on from Jeddah. Behrman was very impressive, I must say. Were you impressed or meh?
anytime somebody could jump in the F1 car and get points, I'll call it impressive.
Yeah.
Even if it is the Red Bull they jump into and you get points, still impressive. I think for me, it was very painful to see him miss out on the Q3 by just like
Yeah.
I think it was at thousands, if not somewhere close to like one. It was like small. It was really marginal.
Right.
I think if he had gotten into Q3, he would have probably started like P8 and probably finished like P5. That's tell you, because I think there's a big difference between an F1 car and the F2 car, and it's not easy to just jump in and go. You could see the talent is there. His driving style was very, very aggressive in a way that still worked because he knew when to be aggressive, or he took a calculated risk on when being aggressive and when just holding the pattern, if they would call it, to not cause any accidents or anything like that. So I think it was a very good balance. I would not be surprised if we see him very soon on the grid. I'll be very saddened if we don't.
Yeah. And as you said, it's not easy to just jump into F1, a F1 vehicle, any vehicle. Because, yes, okay, we could put somebody in Red Bull and assume they'll do well because of the pace of the car or Ferrari, but you have to be able to handle it. You have to be able to maneuver the corners, to handle the overtaking zones, the slickstream, all the different variables that these tracks represent or present, sorry. So, and handle the challenges that they have. So, definitely kudos to him. Of course, no big surprise. Ishmael, Max first. All right, cool. I guess that might be the theme, barring anything unforeseen or anything unfortunate that may occur. Max is expected to make a clean sweep
You,
so
you,
far. So
you're doing my Mexican brother some injustice, sir.
no, we get in there. We get in
Okay,
there, right?
okay.
We get in there, right? But it's a foregone conclusion, right? And we are not doing your Mexican brother injustice. Him staying at Red Bull is the injustice because we saw what happened last season. He is not, even if he is winning by infinity seconds ahead, they are going to tell him he has to give Max the leeway. So I think this is all Perez could hope for. As I said, I'm barring anything unfortunate happens to Max. Obviously, nothing too life threatening, but the vehicle, they can't finish for some reason. That's the only way I'm seeing them stopping Max right now. He's in an incredible form and they can't fall that. I think the best thing we could do is just try to predict who comes second and third, right? That is the best thing we could do right now. If we look at the drivers' standings, I want to bring up these
While you
standings.
bring that up, I would say
Yeah,
that you have to understand that, you know, yes, every driver who goes there is going to definitely aim to have and win a championship, right? That's their ultimate goal, right? Since they like 4, 5, 6, whatever year they start, you know, their dream is to go into F1 and win that championship, right? In very few of them would ever say, "Well, I just wanted to get into F1 and that was that," right? And I think on this grid right now, there's very few who you could say don't have any chance whatsoever, right? Given the correct car, some of
right,
them will be able to, right? Max is a class above. Like Lewis, who was the previous champion, who was a class above,
correct.
Sebastian, who was a class above, Alonso, who still there around. They have a certain level that's just is very, very hard to complete some 35, 40, 50, 60, 70 laps around these circuits and not make a single mistake, right? Not get track limits once. And you had races where Max has done this. He completed the whole thing, not one track limit. So I think for Sergio Perez, the best he can do is get second in every race,
Okay.
right? And the fact that he started 2 out of 2, I think that's the best he could have done, and I think that's the best we could expect from him. And in terms of fantasy and stuff, he's a cheaper alternative
Yeah.
with some, points that he will get, and compared to last season and compared to the end of last season as well, you know, I would put him in my team right now and trust him right now if that's the case. Of course, if I could have afford Max, I'll put Max in front, but he's not bad to have.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably safer. I think around the same price point as like Lando Norris, Charles, those within that range. I think that's around the same price points, and I think he's safer right at this point until he goes a race where he doesn't get second. I think it's safer to have him right now than not have him.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. And then of course, so if we look at the standings that I have up on the screen right now, so of course Max leading the pack, 51 points. Sergio Perez second. So as you said, once Perez keeps the momentum, keeps the pace, keeps second. Of course, Charles Leclerc third, George Russell fourth, Oscar Piastri fifth, Carlos Sainz sixth, Fernando Alonso seventh, Lando Norris eighth, Lewis Hamilton, and then of course, well, Oliver Bowman got his points, but I guess we could chuck Nico Hulkenberg there for now. So again, fantasy wise, and just in terms of F1 wise, must say that this top 10 is, I'm not upset by it or disappointed. The only thing for me is Ocon. For me, Esteban Ocon is not doing Esteban Ocon things. What I accustomed to him doing, he will normally be at least between fifth and eighth. So we'll see what could happen. But of course, they did give us heads up preseason, Ishmael, that they were not super confident in the car this time around, but they are going to try their best. But that is we're still waiting to see that. But for now,
Currently, they are P10 in terms of the quality of car.
right.
So do expect anything from them until they say otherwise.
Correct. Until maybe some upgrades or something miraculous. Or as I said, something unfortunate to others and then some kind of incident. But yeah,
No,
so
but
of course,
even in that case, it wouldn't make sense to have them in your team because you want somebody who's more consistent than
true.
yeah.
Solid. Yeah, for sure, for sure. You want someone solid, someone that you could definitely rely on. Yeah. And so far, I think this top 10 is reflective of that, especially the top three. Once you have one of those guys and then you chip down because you have no choice, because it's either you have Leclerc and then maybe you can maybe if you could afford an RB constructor and then you go from there and spread out your team. The best options right now, people like Hulkenberg looking all right, but you can't even go too high above him because Sainz expensive. Maybe Alonso might be affordable. So, but of course, we will touch on all that when we're trying to
Your
select
boy
the
Lance
team.
Stroll may be affordable.
Right? Yep. Yeah. Maybe. Yes. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. But of course, because of the
So
inflation,
so
very
basically,
difficult.
everybody who have points, makes sense. 'Cause I think
Yeah, for
they
sure.
within the constructors who we expect to do good, right?
Correct. Correct.
So outside of that, so all the drivers who won 0 points, who if you had to pick two, right? Because most people, I guess, would have to have two economical drivers
Mm-hmm,
because they're going
mm-hmm,
to go
mm-hmm.
with a mid-range to high-range constructor because that's the
Okay.
kind of play that we're gonna have to go with initially as the template, right?
Right.
And then you're gonna have maybe one more expensive drivers. So you're gonna have at least two drivers that you have to take a kind of punt with, take a risk with. So out of the drivers who so far haven't scored any points, so that's from the Williams, Kick,
Right. Kick,
um,
Haas,
Kevin,
RB, Alpine.
RB,
Yeah.
Alpine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Who would be your two that you would say within the next three races they might get into the points?
I could take a shout on. That's a great question. Well, boy, I have to, I guess, Danny Rick, and I'll take a check on K-Mag.
A man sipping the Danny Rick juice, yes?
Yeah, I have to, bro. It there. I have to. I mean,
So,
because
so,
I
so why
try.
would why would you say Danny Rick when Yuki Tsunoda has out qualified him 2 out of 2 so far?
I'm saying no, but
100%.
I'm relying on experience. I'm hoping that the home field advantage could work out something for this next race. and that's why I'm going with that. And then we've seen that the Haas has something in it. The Haas could do something. Nico doing it. So why Kima can't find himself and do something as well with it?
All right, okay. So
So that's my
you heard it here.
reasoning.
You heard it here
That's,
first. We're
that's
gonna
the
clip this
reasoning.
and put this on.
Yeah.
Daniel is going to come P9 in the Australian Grand Prix. You hearing it here first.
I would gladly
Points.
take a P9. I would gladly take a P9. That would be great. Right? I might bring him in just for wildness because I already have, I might bring him in and I might bring in Piastri on my personal teams. Of course, we have to fix up the YouTube team. But I think that's my game plan.
For
But
me,
for now,
I would say Kevin and Dan Eric is good shouts.
right.
Outside of that, I would say for me personally, Williams. I
Okay.
could see any of the Williams drivers probably making points.
Okay.
I would quicker say Alex than Logan because I think that's what everybody
Mm,
expects.
right.
But I'm expecting at least 6 points from Logan for the season.
Okay.
So I don't know how what combination of placements he's going to do to get that, but that's my expectation from him from the
Okay.
season.
Okay. Okay. I'm not vexed with that at all. Why would I be vexed with that? I'm not vexed with that. All right. Interesting. Interesting. Of course, let me see what's going on right now. So right now, the best lap, Verstappen has the best lap right now. So Verstappen has the best lap, followed by Leclerc and Perez.
All right, stop the clock. Race over.
Verstappen,
Weekend
Perez,
over.
that right, that could be your 1, 2, 3 right there again, your podium again. But Piastri right there, right? Big up Piastri, right there. So not too bad at all. Some guys with some very close times as well. So we have Sonoda up there, Sainz up there. Ocon, big up my boy Ocon, right? Ricardo up there and Stroll up there. Some of the closest times, not too far from each other, so not too bad at all. We'll take that. So of course, Albert Park, Ishmael. That's what's coming up next. That's what's happening this weekend. As we said, free practice is currently a free practice one is on the way. Of course, Saturday. Well, thankfully, it'll be technically Sunday for us. Sunday will be the race on this side of the world. It will be at midnight for us. No, so I saying midnight for us on Sunday, midnight. Well, Saturday into Sunday, so midnight Sunday for us. Of course, qualifying. Practice 2 is tomorrow. Practice 3 is tomorrow. Then qualifying on Saturday, 1 p.m. for us. And then 1 a.m., sorry, I should say for us. And then midnight on Sunday, we have the race at Albert Park. What we expecting from this race? What does Albert Park present, Ismail? What should we expect?
So if my memory is correct, I think it's like a medium to high speed track.
Mhm.
Some elements of the public streets in it, some elements of some runoff areas. So within the teams, there's certain teams who said, slow corners we're not going to do well, fast corners we're going to do well, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So this is something where sometimes listening to like driver briefs and stuff, they will tell
Yes.
you up front, you
Yes.
know, so far we expect to do well because there's lots of high speed corners, or we don't expect to do well because there's a lot of high speed corners, or we slow in the streets, so not too hopeful, those kinds of things, right? I think we've because of the max dominance, we've seen a lot of drivers not hold out on speaking what they expect and how they expect, right? I think previous seasons where it was a little more competitive, you would find that teams would, not say a lot because they want to compete against each other. But at this point, it's like, okay, well, here's what, fellas. We're gonna race. We expect to be P3, P4, right? Because they know that's what the expectation is, and whether they say something or they hold it back or not, and they want to change anything. You would see teams like Mercedes come and say, "This track we expect a P5, P6." Coming out from Mercedes, that's something that they would not have said in the past. even if their car wasn't at a certain standard. But I've seen more recently, and you know, I haven't. Not to say that it wasn't there in the past, but it's more popular for me personally recently, of drivers coming out and say where to have it. Even Alex Albon went and said, um, "Yeah, these tracks you should bring me into a fantasy team. These tracks, we're not so good, right?" So I haven't gotten to watch a driver brief for this weekend as yet because I haven't had the time. But in terms of the track and what to expect for this weekend, I think free practice, while it isn't a definite indicator because you don't know what fuel load and tire age and all of these things, I would say it's still a decent indicator, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you see teams doing bad that you expect to do bad, do expect them to do good.
Facts. No, the little that so of course Haas I saw Haas preview of it, and because again I'm obsessed with Haas. I think I want to bring in, as I told you, K-Mag. It's not by chance I said that, but they were saying that they come now, this track can be compared to Bahrain a little bit, but it's a bit mixed, right? So what they were saying that there's a lot of front limitation as well as under high speed. So there's a lot of mixtures of what you can get in Bahrain, and then some other elements as well, right? It is also a mixture of medium and high speed corners with a number of overtaking spots. So you can look at turn 3, even turn 11, right? Some parts where there could be some high overtaking. Now, using this in mind, I think this track we can see. I don't expect the same podiums except maybe for Max. So Max win, no problem. But I think experience will reign supreme in this track. I'm seeing maybe a repeat podium for Lewis, and I think Alonso. Maybe I could check in on Leclerc, so maybe Leclerc might repeat it, but I think there'll be a different two behind Max this time. That's just my
Um,
opinion. And because of the weather, of course, it is late summer right now in Melbourne, so it is a two-stop race. Safety cars are normally a factor here, but we'll wait and see. Hopefully not.
so
But I'm expecting some experience, some like super duper experience. Like ones who did not feature yet so far for the past two races, I think could have a great chance of doing something in this race.
I would agree to you to an extent, right? Because this is one of the faster, or if not like close, it's high on the fastest average speeds for the race, right? So something means that your car have to be able to reach a good top speed, right? Some of the lower constructors don't have that top speed yet. So cars like Haas, maybe Williams, maybe RB, they on the better end versus cars like Alpine. And I think Kick might they might not have as much top speed if following the latest, right? If that's correct, right? So I would say experience, yes, definitely, but experience have to come with a car with good top speed as well and good cornering at high speeds because if the car not good, there's only so much you can do without that assist, right? I would say not necessarily count out Sergio Perez. I expect Sergio Perez to continue doing well. The car, Red Bull, is very good
Hmm.
at two things. One is performance and speed. Two, load deck, right? So while it's a bit, hot and you expect a two stop, Red Bull usually their strategy has just been, hey, what, Max, you go drive. When everybody pit and you have enough time to do a free pit, we'll call you. And the fact that he could do that in almost all the races means that there's usually low deg from Red Bull. So I think that translates to Perez. I mean, he might be able to manage his tires as somehow Max just insanely does it, but is a lot less big than other cars comparing like Ferrari and Mercedes and McLaren, right? So I would say Max, then Perez, and then we would look at another car behind them. If Carlos Sainz is back,
Mm-hmm.
I would put my toss my ring in the Carlos Sainz hat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm vexed with that. Max, I don't know. I really feeling something weird. You know, could be Max Lewis Piastri. Like that's the craziness I'm looking at right now. That's what
What
I'm feeling right now.
I don't.
I know. I know. No, and don't discount a higher finish for Haas. I feel Haas could get a
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
finish
Definitely.
a 7, 8, 6. It's this is 6. Could finish 6, right? Could finish pretty high too, because they've been showing that they're doing well. They just missed out in Bahrain. They got it in Jeddah. They're looking good. I'm not saying they're gonna do great things and be world beaters, but definitely looking good. They could be our Alpine replacements for this season, right? They could be that team that mid team that doing well this season. Let's see. I find it looking good,
So
right?
what I would say Max Sergio. After that, um, I just gonna have to go with Carlos. Like that's just there.
Fair enough.
Um, going to go Charles, then Lewis, then Piastri, then Russell Norris. Like that's I just seeing that it's maybe a bit too early in the season for us to deviate too much from the drivers that just gonna go out there and
The
pull the
norm.
performance of the car,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Okay.
Um, yeah, but wouldn't be surprised to see, Lance doing better, Alonso maybe doing some better.
Mm-hmm. McLaren definitely have to be up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Barring anything, as I said, barring anything funny. All right, so let's dive into the fantasy aspect now. We'll just focus on the YouTube team for now. So there's team two. How do we fix and prepare this team for this GP coming up? Ishmael, what ideas you have in that brain of yours?
For this GP coming up slash a little bit more long any long run, could we please get kick out of there, please?
Right, right. So kick out,
Yes, yes.
kick out, kick.
At this point, we let's see what we can afford once that's
All
out,
right, no problem, no
and then
problem.
we could fix the team accordingly.
So 7.7 M in the bank.
Right, right. Let's see if we can get Pierre Gasly out as well.
All right, so we're kicking up here. Right. I think that's the most we could. I mean, you could do what? 2 transfers, I believe. And
Yeah, I believe
without
so.
minusing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So those are the two we need to get out.
So
Let's see the constructor
15,
first.
15.2. Okay, let's take a look at the constructor.
Right, because constructor give us some points, right?
Hmm. If
So
we
we starting off with
Mhm.
Haas because
Okay, so we'll try as
we can't
anyone else.
afford Austin Martin. So
Yeah. And Haas doing the solid right now. So we
yeah,
could put
so
Haas.
just because you're beginning up so much, I think we're gonna go Haas and let's see what driver we could manage
Afford.
with that.
K-Mag. So the all Logan.
No, no, no.
Zhao.
We
No, I
don't.
just telling you what's
Yeah.
available. I just telling you what's available. Right? Valtteri, Yuki, right? Just telling you what's available. This is what is available. Awesome choices.
Why Daneric? How much Daneric is?
Danny Rick
Scroll down.
is. Hold on,
So by
sorry.
price, if you could do that.
That's not, yeah, I could
So
do
by
that.
value to the right.
Yeah, value. Right.
All right. So
Right.
now we will know who we
So,
could afford and we can't afford.
right.
Yeah,
So
he's
we,
too
right.
expensive.
So Yuki, Pear, Albon, K-Mag, Zhao, Hulkenberg, Valtteri, and Logan Sargent.
Well, you tell me if you think Kevin or Hulkenberg do that,
That's the thing. But do we want to double up?
I
I mean, we
don't
have no
like to
choice. Yeah, I
I
do like to
don't
double up.
like to double up,
Yeah, I
but
do like to double up.
At
But
this point, if we keep here, the price is just going to drop and drop, and we're going to
yeah,
lose
yeah,
value.
yeah, and we lose value. Whereas K-Mag went up a little bit. Yeah. Nico went up a little bit.
I feel like Nico might be the one to get points out
Yeah.
of the two of them, to be
I'll do
honest.
too. All right. Will I do it? Why not? All right. And then who we doubling? Of course, Max.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
As
So two transfers. Let's edit this and put our multiplier.
it's on Max. It's
Oh, it's
must be on
already
Max.
on Max. Right. My bad. It's already
Yeah.
on Max. All right. We'll leave that so then. So we'll go back out. Right. So two times a Max. Okay.
Honestly, I'm
So,
not mad at it. We have the
right.
Red Bull driver, we have the
Yeah.
Ferrari driver,
Yeah.
Mercedes constructor.
Mm-hmm.
Piastri gonna come P3 as you say. We're
Right.
gonna be
Taking
sad,
that.
but we're gonna just be happy for Piastri.
Piastri, yep, and I will definitely. Okay, I could maybe I'll think of one of my teams just for live sake. I'll think of this one here. So I'll just think of this one quickly. I already have Daniric, right? So I think he should at least be top 10.
I wouldn't think
Um,
of that team at all, though.
yeah, no, right?
I want to see. I want to see what you're thinking, because right
Well,
now
you
I think that's
see,
a good team, like really good
yeah, well,
balance.
there's nothing much to think of. Maybe just the constructor, but even self, like because if I believe that Rick could do well, I could get rid of RB and try and maybe get another constructor, but I don't want to repeat what I did on the last team now. So I think I could
But
leave this
but
just
the
so.
only thing you could really do at the price point is bring in Haas,
Yeah, I don't want to repeat what I did. I want to try and each
because
team be different. Yeah,
we don't trust Alpine, we don't trust Kick,
yeah,
so it's only Williams or Haas.
yeah. No, I'll leave
So
that
if you
so.
want to do the Williams, it wouldn't be a bad shout.
Yeah,
But no matter what driver you have a Haas driver, a Williams
yeah,
driver, and
correct,
a
correct.
RB driver. So you're going to double on one of them. So it
Yeah,
depends on which one you're feeling, gut feeling there.
yeah. Unless, yeah, I feel I will leave it as I just say. Let's see. I think Leclerc top three. This whole team could come top 10. I mean, any team. You can say that for anybody, but these guys, at least Hamilton, Leclerc, and Hulkenberg, top 10. We'll take that. Red Bull will obviously be top. Well, not say obviously, but should be top three. So that's some valuable, solid points there. My team three, that's just me.
I know what you can think of.
Yeah. So I know you want to get rid of Stroll. Let me hear.
No, for team one.
Team one. Uh-huh.
You said you're feeling Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
double on Hamilton.
times two on
Put your
Hamilton.
times two where your
Where
mouth
my
is.
mouth is. All right. I'm not afraid to do that. Hold on. Let me,
No, but it really what you feeling. Like
no, no,
to
no,
me,
no, no. I can do that.
to me,
Right?
I think Charles will probably be a little higher. But
Hey, if he
if
does
you
well, at
feeling it.
least if Hamilton does well, at least and some overtaking points, his experience comes through. I taking that. If he podiums, ooh, taking that.
No, well,
Yeah.
I never have any doubt in Hamilton. It's really the car.
Yeah, it's just the vehicle. Yeah.
And I don't think the car is up to the standard as yet. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. But let's see what the driver could do. Is the driver study, and I'm hoping that he could reign through.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
man.
you see, that only works when the teams are at similar performances. Right now, we have a clear delineation.
Mm-hmm,
Red
mm-hmm.
Bull is miles in front.
Yeah, it's a
After
government
that
class.
is Ferrari. There's no
Mm-hmm.
doubt Ferrari there. Between McLaren and Mercedes, I could say fight it out. Even Austin Martin might be in the kind of shout, but they're a little bit lower than the both of them. But they can still fight out.
Yeah.
But there's a clear first and a clear second to me. At least to
Yeah.
me, right now there's a clear first and clear seconds in terms of performance. So it's very hard for my teams, to give Lewis the double when I have Charles.
Yeah, of course.
Although Ferrari is the king of messing up strategy, messing up the driver. Yeah. But what I would say,
Well, not recently. Yeah, they're looking all right, looking sharp, doing the
yeah,
thing. They're consistent, so looking very sharp. And
what I would say is what I look at before deciding fully is P3 practice tree.
Correct.
I don't really look to see like who get what. I look to hear or see any reports on driver finding issues setting up
Mm-hmm.
configurations
Yes.
because towards the end half of P3 is where they fiddle with the different balances that they want for qualifying, which will move into the race.
Correct.
And we know that there were teams in the past who had very good cars, but they struggled on certain tracks to find that balance that works for them. Even like Haas has been the king of that last season. They had a very good car at certain points, and they mess up the entire weekend because they couldn't balance it properly. They couldn't find the right configurations to use. So that double, I'll say, okay, fine, cool, no problem. But anytime I hear Mercedes messing up their configurations, back to Charles.
Yeah. And definitely, and sometimes what really helps me is that the as you said P3, or sometimes you have a little gap just before the P3 and qualifying. That analysis that really helps because they get an idea now of who's looking good, and sometimes it helps. It really helps. But P1, P2, just to give an idea of how the drivers handling the track. But of course, it is not under a lot of pressure because there's not three cars flanking them and they're trying to DRS. So there's always a different ball game. But definitely,
I'm gonna say something.
mm,
If I don't get a job in the future because of this, then my fault. But besides George Russell,
mm,
I think most of the drivers, once they can handle it without pressure, they can handle it with pressure.
yeah, okay, yeah. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying for sure. And then, of course, as I keep saying, for some reason, I just feel experience will reign through on this one. I don't know why I have that gut feeling. I mean, obviously, I don't have to be right, but I just have a feeling. I think,
No, well, I feel like you're knee pain and you feeling that rain from Australia. You know they're gonna get a little drizzle.
boy, I don't have a friend in Australia, actually. I could ask what's the weather like right now, but no, I think, no, if it's a drizzle, I have to, the greatest rain driver ever, Lance
No,
Stroll,
no, no,
right?
no, no, no rain driving. There's going to be a drizzle, and half the drivers are going to stay out, and half is going to go in for intermediates, and the half that's going for intermediates gonna just be slow because they didn't need the intermediates,
Well, but the
and that's
greatest,
where the experience comes in.
yeah, but the greatest amphibian of all, Lance Stroll. You know that. You can't fight me there. Your favorite, right? And big up Stroll. I know Stroll looking too bad doing his thing, right? Well, I guess that could conclude the show for now. Let me just wrap off quickly what um pre-practice looking like. So Norris on top right now. So I'll give it the top. Let me give it the top. Let me give it.
No, just
So
go
of
top,
course,
just go top, just go top.
yeah. So of course, so up top we have Norris, Leclerc, Sonoda, Perez, Stroll, Verstappen, Ricardo, Sainz. Something happened to Albon. I'll have to see what happened there. And then of course you have K-Mag, Sargent. So there's a red flag right now on this thing on the track.
Assuming that's for Albon.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's for Albon. I'm not too
Hope
sure
he's
what
okay.
happened there.
I'll
Hopefully it's okay.
check it out and
Hold
see.
on, we'll check. Red flag come right. So the red flag's out. Cameras pick up a Strickland Williams. It is Alex Albon was sparked up and out on track with a front wheel missing. For starters, he's getting out of the car and looks fine, which is good to see. So it looks like, yeah, so obviously a red flag, so session is stopped for now. Okay, and perfect timing. We are now going to uh dive off the stream as well. But I want to thank everyone for watching. Ishmael, final thoughts, final words from preview for Australia. Any let's end with our top three podiums. So we'll do that one more time, our podium predictions. So go ahead, Ishmael, your closing remarks and your podiums. We had
Well,
some chat
I've
there,
kind of mentioned mine a few times already.
right?
Barring anything unfortunate, Max Perez signs.
Max Verstappen.
I would say for me, in my closing remarks, is this early in the season, I'm just gonna stick to templates. Not too much deviation. The only deviation I will do is, let's say the template is Charles Leclerc, I could go Carlos Sainz.
Okay.
It's Lewis Hamilton, I could go George Russell. So
Right.
with any same teams, I could play around. But I'm not going to go to a different constructor just to be having somebody who's a variation.
Yeah.
Because I think the top seven maybe I could play with, but underneath that, I'm not gonna dive into those as yet.
Yeah. And back to that. Well, as I said before, so earlier, I'm giving it to Max Lewis, and uh, Max Lewis Norris. Let me go with that. Max Lewis and Norris. That's my top three. That's my predictions. Guys, let us know in the comment section your podium predictions. Let us know your plans. If you were taking out, you're bringing in which constructors. We gave you some great ideas. Haas is not a bad constructor. It's feasible. It can help you maybe push. If you don't have Max yet, or if you don't have Perez yet, maybe, or Leclerc, you can possibly push to that to try and get Perez. We have to work on some chip strategies as well. Of course, the best we always see people use their chip on the first day, which is not a bad shout. It gives you a good leg up on the competition. But we'll do some chip strategies soon. Of course, the next race coming up is Japan. Japan will be what, like 1 a.m. for us on this side of the world.
When can
Uh,
I get a cool Sunday post 9 a.m. race?
you are not getting that until the 5th of May, Miami GP, but 4 p.m., not 9 a.m. Again, at 4 p.m., but everything back as normal with your 9 a.m. on Sunday, 19th May, when we are our first European Grand Prix, which will be Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, which is Italy, of course. So, of course, that will be lit. And then
Yeah.
you have Kindia and then Monaco after that, then back on this side of the world, Canada, and then Spain, Austria, and British. So of course, season now start as we keep saying.
I feel
Uh,
next year we got to do one of these shows live from Miami
Bro,
or
that's a
from
dream.
Canada.
That's
Eh?
a dream. That is the dream, bro. That is
Next
the
year
dream.
Miami calling it
Mexico,
from now.
Brazil, something though. That is the dream, bro. It could happen this year, no. It have places right there, Brazil right there, Mexico right there. You never know. Places we
We
don't need visas for.
we
You
go we
know.
go see how the fun's good. We go see how the
Yeah,
fun's good.
right. But yeah. So guys, thanks again for watching. Of course, your home for fantasy sport. We're trying to do IPL, but I do not. The sites are restrictive. You could only play in India, and they have not opened the platform to the side of the world, so there may not be any IPL. But we will still have some kind of IPL discussions or chat or show or something. We love cricket here on the channel. World Cup coming up, CPL coming up, a lot of action, a lot of things happening, and then of course FPL will be back soon.
Yeah, any
UCL
dance for
back
the
soon.
World Cup live?
If we're trying, working on that. That is being worked on currently. Trying to see if I can at least go to some games here and then go to Barbados or something. They open up a few media groups and whatnot for us. So I'm following everything so far. Just waiting on to see if I get the media pass. If not, maybe buy a ticket and go and I could get in from there. But working out on that. But there's a lot of things in store, of course. Stay
Big things
tuned.
coming. Big things coming.
Yep, stay tuned. And of course, I want to thank my guest Ishmael for coming through. We hope we have a full cast next time. And of course, enjoy your weekend. Of course, look at the practice session, look at all the news. Take your time, don't rush your choice yet. Of course, follow your gut. If you feel Max not going to win and you want to put somebody else up there, or put the 2 times on someone else, keep Max. But you want to put it 2 times on someone else, or you think there are two constructors worth bringing in, follow your gut, guys. Let's go with the Australian GP. Let's hope for a good, safe race, no injuries. Everyone gets to finish. That'll be great. And we'll see you all in the next one. Happy picking. Take care.
Closing off. Good luck. Happy picking. But remember, deadline, deadline, deadline.
Deadline. Thank you, Ishmael, for that. For real. Save your team, people. Click that save button. And of course, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.